This story happened to me when I was about 13 years old, and it happened during the school summer holidays. And this particular morning, I got up, got dressed, with the intentions of going out and seeing my friends as soon as possible, run downstairs, had my cereal, and was about to leave the house when an internal door, which is essentially the door under the stairs, started rattling. So I opened it, and inside there was a boy about my age. He was dressed, strangely enough, as a wizard. So we had a conversation. I told him I had to go and meet my friends and shut the door, and off I went. This probably happened maybe 3 or 4 days on a trot. The last day, he offered me a test tube, and he offered me this test tube, and it had a liquid inside, clear liquid, and he asked me if I wanted a drink, which I didn't, and I refused. He talked a bit longer, and then he offered me it again, and I still refused. But every time he offered me it, he got more and more aggressive, to the point where his disguise, if that's what it was, started to slip. So when he was getting real angry, his eyes would change, his facial structure would change. And that's when I started to see him for what he really was. Essentially, it looked like a goblin, grey skin rather than green, but he started getting really violent. At that point, I slammed the door shut, and I remember holding onto it, and it felt like, the door was vibrating, and it felt like I was there for hours, but it was probably seconds. And eventually the door stopped vibrating, and I went on with my day. Maybe a few days later, I checked the cupboard and no one was there. None of this seemed strange at the time. It was almost like you're in another reality. But years later, I've looked at this, and I think what I encountered was a theory, because if you look into the Irish folklore, you see these stories quite a lot where they offer you food, they offer you a drink, and the legend goes, if you take the drink, you take the food, you essentially disappear and you become a part of the fairy realm.